get into. But I do enjoy Halloween. I have nothing against Halloween. It just comes at a bad time of year, so to speak. But, oh hey, Picola T, power came back an hour ago just in time for the stream. Wow, you were without power for 4 hours today. Oh, I wonder why. You know, it's kind of stormy up here, but I don't think that's why you're without power. But as I was saying, as a general rule, I don't usually celebrate Halloween. But the one thing that I do really miss about celebrating Halloween is carving pumpkins. Because I used to actually really enjoy carving pumpkins. And carving pumpkins, like the fancy kind, the kind you need stencils and stuff like that for. So, right before the show, I went through the interwebs and I found a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns, and one of these jack-o'-lantern designs I've actually carved out myself. I've done that design before, but I thought these were really cool kitty cat jack-o'-lanterns. Some of them cute, some of them spooky, and one of them, and if you're on Facebook, you already know which one. One of them is just downright hysterical. And I saw it and was like, whoever thought of this is sick and wrong, and I love them for it. So, let's look at some cat-o'-lanterns, shall we? Before we get spooky, let's just get in the mood, okay? So it's cat-o'-lantern times. I think that one's cool. And that one reminds me of something. And that one kind of freaks me out. But that one I've actually carved before. And that one's super cool. But this one makes me laugh. And then I like that one a lot too. And then that one's pretty neat. I just love these. But this one's my favorite, I think. Right there. And I feel like that one that's got the arch back, like, I feel like that's like from Nightmare Before Christmas or something. I feel like I've seen that cat somewhere. But the kitty cat who's got the pumpkin butt, the pumpkin stem butt, makes me laugh the most. And so I don't know if you guys have ever carved pumpkins like these, but they're quite fun. And they look way better in the dark than they do in daylight. And yeah, some of them are cute, some of them are cool. One of them's kind of creepy. This one is actually kind of creepy. I think it's supposed to be the Cheshire Cat. And that one looks difficult. Whoever did that was skilled. But this one, I'm sorry, dude, it's my favorite right there. The little kitty cat butt is my favorite. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. That one. That one right there. Whoever thought of that, tell you what, man, they were brilliant. They were brilliant. And let's see here. Picola T, the cat butt is your favorite. You saw a hilarious photo of a jack-o'-lantern made by someone. And how Ula, too lazy to drive into town for a pumpkin. It was carved ulu, breadfruit, and very creepy with bumpy skin. Yeah, I bet that would be super, super creepy. Actually, Pinnell, I'm not really surprised you haven't carved a pumpkin. I don't really know if that's a Canadian tradition up there. And certainly in the cities, it's definitely less common than in the suburbs, without a doubt. But carving a pumpkin is actually kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a fun art project. Although there is a trick to it. When you are carving a pumpkin, and nobody told me this when I was a kid. In fact, I don't think it even occurred to my parents about this. But later on, as I got more serious about carving pumpkins, and I read up about it, because I did, if you ever do decide to carve a pumpkin or carve anything, you can carve watermelon if you want, but watermelon is a little bit stickier. But you totally can carve a watermelon in the summer. Well, I mean, I guess you can carve a watermelon in the winter if you want to. But the key to carving a good pumpkin, or making it easier to carve your pumpkin, is the surface of the pumpkin that you'll be carving. On that side of the pumpkin, you want to thin out the wall of the pumpkin as much as you can, because the thicker the pumpkin wall, the more difficult it is to carve, especially carve in detail. So you want to like shave it down so it's really more like an inch thick. And right, okay, there you go, Pinnell. Your father carved the pumpkins, and you had no reason to have a pumpkin in the apartments. Exactly, exactly. And hey, Mariana, good to see you. No, you're not at all late. And hey, Mama Sean, good to see you. Right now, and yeah, that's right, you guys, we're going to look through them again. Right now, we're talking about jack-o'-lanterns. But actually, we're talking about cat-o'-lanterns, because these ones are kitty cats. And so, these are some kitty cat jack-o'-lanterns that I caught off of the interwebs. I did not make any of these. That being said, I have actually carved one of these pumpkins. Not pictured, but that particular design I actually have carved before. And so yeah, we're getting into the theme of things here. And let's see here. So that's the little kitty cat pumpkins. And so I'm wondering, did anybody carve any pumpkins? I'm going to guess Pinnell did not. But did anybody carve any pumpkins this year? I have a friend in Franklin, Tennessee, who probably carves 30 to 50 pumpkins every year, and he puts it all around his property. I consider him, the Halloween king. And then what he does is, obviously he doesn't do it all in one day, and so he posts on his socials the pumpkin collection as it's growing, and then he takes the pictures of them all lit and everything, and it's all beautiful. But then, and this is where he becomes the king of Halloween, but then he also keeps posting pictures of as they decay, and that's when the pumpkins get really creepy, is when they start to decay on themselves. And and so he is the king of Halloween. Not to mention also, actually, he is an artist he's a musician and an artist who creates Frankenstein figures. He sculpts them and then hand paints them and everything like that. So he lives Halloween pretty much all year round. So he is absolutely the king of Halloween, in my opinion. And Pinnell, there you go. You drew a pumpkin on some orange paper and stuck it on the wall. And let's see here. I put out a Talavera pumpkin because the Javelinos will eat them in a hot minute. I don't know what a Tavalera pumpkin is. Is that a fake pumpkin? Or is that a kind of pumpkin that the Javelinas don't like to eat? And Amy's like, you didn't carve any pumpkins this year. Yeah, no, nor did I. And Gina, you don't trust yourself with a carving knife. Well, absolutely, I can appreciate that logic, especially if you're using a traditional carving knife. But actually, if one day you are ever interested in trying to carve a watermelon or a pumpkin, you don't use a traditional knife. The best knives for carving are actually, they've got no sharp edge to them, and they're kind of serrated, but they're sort of a rounded serrated, they're kind of like a dull saw in a weird way. They're not, you don't want to use a real knife. You actually do want to, if you ever do decide to carve a pumpkin, you do want to spend the money to get the pumpkin carving kit with the little knife and the scraper tool, because quite honestly, it makes all the difference in the world. The knives that they give you in the pumpkin carving kits are, first off, not going to cut you, but they make cutting the pumpkin so much easier than using a regular knife. So, the fact that you don't trust yourself with a carving knife to carve pumpkins is very wise, because let me tell you, before I discovered the pumpkin carving knives, yeah, no one should trust themselves with a carving knife when carving pumpkins. Much more difficult, much too dangerous, not even. And Katie's Aura, you've never had a pumpkin. I heard about that. In the UK, pumpkins aren't really like a thing. And hey, Shock is in the house. Good to see you, Shock. And Picola T, why did the term scraper tool just make your jaws hurt? Well, my best guess is you might have had some dental work done. And let's see here. Oh my goodness, Miranda, that's funny. When you were a kid, you couldn't put our jack-o'-lanterns out until Halloween night because the peacocks in our neighborhood would come and eat them. That is so funny. But yeah, but that absolutely is a problem here. Squirrels and raccoons and possums love to nibble on the outdoor pumpkins. And actually somebody left a little pumpkin out. I saw it online, and they like poked a hole in it or whatever they poked a couple holes in it, and then the rats started eating from the holes out, and so it ended up creating this horribly gnarly face shape where the rats had gnawed the holes. You know, one of the eyes was bigger than the other eye. It was just, and they did that on purpose because they knew that the rats would eat. You know, like it was kind of it was the rats' jack-o'-lantern basically. And oh, Gina, you know about the carving kits you've tried in the past. You still don't trust yourself with those. Your hands aren't steady enough. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Some of those curves in the design of the pumpkin carving kits can be very tricky. That's what I'm trying to say. And Terry, pumpkins don't grow well over in the UK. Yeah, pumpkins, I've never had success growing pumpkins up in the Pacific Northwest. Pumpkins do grow in the Pacific Northwest. I've seen them, but even though I can grow corn, I can grow broccoli over the winter, I can grow cauliflower over the winter, I can grow all sorts of things. Pumpkins never were something that worked. And that's exactly it, Shot. It was the rat-o'-lantern, that design. And I guess, yes, Picola T, does that mean pumpkin flavored everything is not a thing over there? I'll bet you it probably is. Although, from what I understand, the pumpkin thing is sort of starting to happen in the UK, and people are freaking out about it because, they're leaving the pumpkins that they get, they're leaving them, like, they're throwing them out in the wild to just go rot, and that's bad on two levels. First off, pumpkins are not native to the UK at all, so introducing non-native seeds to then perhaps grow next year is not a good thing. But it's also not a good thing because the animals in the area are getting a food source at a time of year that they aren't supposed to be getting an abundant food source. And also, it's a food source that that they're not used to eating at all. So it's bad all the way around. But from what I understand, in the UK, the pumpkin thing is slowly starting to take over. And I would assume they've got to have pumpkin spice lattes at Starbucks in the UK. I would think, right? And let's see here. Yes, you know, Mariana, I've heard this, so you might already know this, she says, but I was watching a Halloween documentary earlier and learned that the Celts originally used turnips as jack-o'-lanterns. Settlers use pumpkins here because they grow well. Penel pops in, jack-o'-lanterns were made from turnips, I think. Pumpkins are easier to carve. Abso-flippin'-lutely, dude. I can't even imagine, how would you carve a turnip? I mean, first off, you'd have to hollow it out. They're not that big. I mean, they're big, but they're not that big. I just don't understand how it was even accomplished. I just don't. And Cora popping in. Hey, Cora, good to see you. The most we have are pumpkin syrups in Starbucks. There's nothing pumpkin in the shops. Right, okay. And Picola T, if Scottish wildlife get accustomed to pumpkins, they might start queuing up at Starbucks. Yes, indeedly do. Actually, though, I don't know. You think those wild animals got Starbucks money? Because if they got pumpkin at home, they don't got no Starbucks money. We got no Starbucks money. Money for Starbucks, man. I barely got money for Starbucks, right? Starbucks money. You gotta be a billionaire to have Starbucks kind of money these days. All right, so those were our cute little cat-o'-lanterns. Yes, indeedly do. Now we're going to, let's see here. Now we're going to talk about, well, no, we're not going to talk about, we're going to watch a thing. We're going to start off with a spooky story from Hawaii. And this spooky story is apparently true. And let's see here. Wait, Cora's saying, hi, I think the only reason we go crazy for the pumpkin coffees is because we grew up watching American YouTubers get them. Well, yeah, because at Starbucks, pumpkin spice is only available this time of the year. Whereas at the barista that I go to, pumpkin spice is actually available all year round because some people like pumpkin spice all year round. And by some people, I mean me. And because I'm a regular and I go there every day, they buy me what I want because they are like that. Because it's a mom and pop shop and they will do what their customers want. Oh, a customer wants me to sell this flavor all year round? This flavor is available all year round at the store? I will provide this customer that flavor all year round. And let's see here. Oh my goodness. Whoa, Shock is saying this woman is using a Black & Decker to hollow out the turnip. Okay, so if you want to see how to carve a turnip jack-o'-lantern, I guess that's how you do it. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, Shock, and say that the Celts did not have a Black & Decker. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but... And Bacolji, have y'all seen the cutest internet video of a dog bringing a leaf to a vendor as his cash payment for food? So adorable. I have seen it, and I wish I could pull it up right now to show it to everybody because it is the sweetest thing. And exactly, Mariana, that's how you do business. Precisely. If you've got a customer who comes in every day and they order the same thing every day, and you can provide it every day, well, then why not? You know, for instance, they know that in theory they could probably sell eggnog lattes every day, only eggnog isn't available for them to purchase all year round, so they don't. But eggnog has been available in the grocery stores for the last couple of weeks, oddly enough, and boom, as soon as the eggnog was available in like September or whatever, they got it in, and they usually even freeze some for later on, and so they usually have eggnog until like February or March. So like their eggnog window is big because they know that their people want the eggnogs, but it's only available, you know, limited time. And let's see here. The Celts had concentrated meanness and blades. We still do. Well, okay, all right, there you go. Okay, so okay. This video that I'm gonna show you guys is taken from a Hawaii television news broadcast from just a few days ago, and it is it's a story told by a Hawaiian storyteller who is very well known for his haunted Hawaiian stories. And for those of you who don't know or aren't familiar with the term night marchers, in Hawaiian history, religion, magic, folklore, whatever you want to term it, the warriors of days gone by, at least once a month, they gather from their resting place in the mountains and march to the ocean. And you can see the night marchers, apparently. Some people can. And if a night marcher comes to, the night marcher approaches you and you are not recognized as part of their clan, in theory the night marchers are going to kill you. And you're supposed to never look at a night marcher. There's all sorts of rules surrounding the night marchers. We're not really necessarily going to get into that. You don't really even need to know all the rules about dealing with night marchers. But what I can tell you is, what night marchers are is they're phantom warriors from the past that the Hawaiians, that are a part of Hawaiian culture. You have to know that in order to understand what the Flying Fork is going on here. So, let's watch this spooky story that that took place in Hawaii.
Welcome back to Aloha Authentic, welcome back to Queen Amra's Summer Palace, and welcome back to a little teaser of what you can experience in one of Uncle Opaka's Mystery of Hawaii tours. I do want to mention though, back in 2020, Uncle was recognized by the Hawaii State Legislature for your role as being a storyteller and perpetuating a lot of our stories. So thank you for all the work that you do, because again, I really understand and feel the value of these stories. But on that note, what little story can you share with us tonight? Not too scary, please.
This boy on Molokai used to sit in his bedroom and face the left corner and talk to nothing. And so his father got upset one night and went into the boy's bedroom and said, "Who are you talking to?" And the boy points to the empty corner. He says, "Oh, the old Hawaiian man." The father said, "What old Hawaiian man?" And the boy goes, "The old Hawaiian man. That's my friend. I talk to him all the time. I like him." So the father says, "Oh, forget one old Hawaiian man over there. Why don't you ask him what he's wearing?" So the boy looks at the empty corner and says, "My dad wants to know what you're wearing." The boy's going like this, "Okay, uh-huh." And he looks at his dad. He said he's wearing dungarees and boondockers. The father was so freaked out, him and the wife blocked off the left corner of the room and they moved everything to the right. And after that, the last 4 nights, at the end of every month, about 10 o'clock, the boy comes walking out of the room like this and walking down the hallway to the front door. And it's kind of strange, so they think he's sleepwalking. They redirect him to his room, except one night he's coming out the room like this, eyes closed. It looks like somebody's pulling him down the hallway. And so they called a kahuna. And the kahuna came to the house and looked at the house and looked at the mountain and said, "Can I go around your house?" They said, "Yeah." Came back, he said, "Can you take me inside?" And they do. He said, "Where's your son's bedroom?" And they take him in. The kahuna doesn't go in the bedroom, he stands outside and he tells the parents, underneath the left corner over there is buried an old Hawaiian man. And this is his land. You built your house on his land, but don't worry, he's been protecting your son. The parents are like, "Protecting him from what?" And the kahuna goes like this. From the mountains back here at Ho'olehua, through your house, all the way to the ocean, is a night marcher's procession. So the father goes, "Oh, they're just going down my hallway then?" He goes, No, they're going through your whole house. That's why the spirit of this old Hawaiian man has been keeping your son in the left corner. He's been protecting him from the night marchers. But now that you blocked it off and you move everything over here, they've been trying to take him once a month. Just put everything back. No need blessing. Just make everything the way it used to be. He said, because if you don't, the next time the night marchers come through your house, they're going to take your son. Never see him again. And so they put everything back. Everything was fine.
So there you have it. Now, let's see here. Oops. All right. So, eMusic, Lopaka learned his stories from Glenn Grant. I don't know who Glenn Grant is. I mean, I do in the sense that up here in the Pacific Northwest, we had a car dealership called Glenn Grant Chevrolet. I am going to go out on a limb and say that is not the same Glenn Grant. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was. Who was Glenn Grant? But exactly Pacola T, exactly DJ Smoke, exactly Fennell. Ooh, whoa. I know. I mean, it's like just creepy enough. It's not super scary, but it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. And I totally, I mean, obviously I don't know exactly when this story took place, but I do feel fairly confident that it took place in an era where the term dungarees and boondockers were not used in realm of describing clothing, because the term, first off, I don't even know what a boondocker is. Is that a boot? Is that a shirt? I don't even know what a boondocker is. But dungarees, that's an old-timey name for jeans. Like, that's an 1800 name for blue jeans. And so, my best guess is that that kid would have had no knowledge of the term dungarees or boondockers. I'm 51 years old and I still don't know what is a boondocker, y'all. Anyone? And eMusic, or Pacola T, pointing and laughing, not the same Glenn Grant. But Pacola T, do you know this? You lived here when Glenn Grant had his Chevrolet. Glenn Grant Chevrolet. I mean, you you know the car dealership I'm talking about, right? You lived up here when it existed. But eMusic coming in with Glenn Grant was the super duper guy in Hawaii. He did the scary stories. Lopaka was his assistant. Gotcha. Okay, Boondockers are shoes. Okay, all right. I thought they might be, but I truly had no idea. And so I'm guessing the kid probably wasn't exactly sure either. Hard to say. But yeah, so that was scary story number 1, as it were. But let's see here. Okay, so Danny, hey, so good to see you, Danny. Glenn Grant used to give haunted tours of Hawaii. Okay, there we go, and now Lopaka does. And for those of you who are kind of new-ish or not necessarily, well, anyway, Danny Settle, old-time Hamajang ganger, coming in, saying hello on this Hallows Eve, and for those of you who were here a couple days ago when we were talking about the Andy Bumatai fundraiser on GoFundMe, and I was talking about Danny Settle and how she's very trustworthy. This is the Danny Settle I was speaking of, y'all. This is the GoFundMe sponsor, the one who got it all started. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Danny Settle, now she's in the house. All right, there we go. And Mama Sean, combat boots worn by Marines are boondockers. Okay. Shock, boondock is a Tagalog word for mountain and is what boondocks come from. Oh, so they're like hiking boots or combat boots or all-terrain boots. Got it. Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that boondock was a Tagalog word, but there you go. It sounds like it would be actually when you spell it that way. And I have to say, as a kid growing up, I'd not only heard Tagalog, but also heard the word Tagalog like a lot in my life. It's the language that a lot of Filipino speakers speak. But I never knew how it was spelt. And in my brain, I spelt it different. And so whenever I see Tagalog, which is how Tagalog is spelled, I have to remind myself what that word is. Because I want to say it, Tagalog, and it's like, you know that's not how that's pronounced, but Tagalog, yeah, anyway. And let's see here, the term was made semi-famous by Neil Stevenson in his Necronomicon saga. Got it. Yeah, boondocking can be camping rough. I've heard of that. I've heard of that in camping sense, but I didn't know in wardrobe sense just what the flying fork those things boondockers would be. So let's see here. All right, so what else have we got on the agenda for today? Oh yes, here we go. And okay, here we go. The Navy once issued dungarees and low-cut boots called boondockers. Oh well, then there you go. So the old Hawaiian guy probably was maybe in the Navy because he's wearing dungarees and boondockers. Got it. Okay. All right, so this isn't a story per se. It's a series of stories, but this is a location. And if I remember correctly, we've talked about this location before, but it was many years ago. And anyway, this place, just by the nature of what it is sort of terrifying. But it's also, no, there isn't a map coming. Dang it, I should have. No, there's no map. But there is a series of pictures. So how about we just go to what we're talking about. So you see, there's this place in Nevada. It's called the Clown Motel. And as I was mentioning, the Clown Motel might actually be terrifying enough in and of itself, I mean, just look at the Clown Motel. Awesome, cool. Now, once you get beyond the Clown Motel and you look past the parking lot of the Clown Motel, you know what you see back there below the hills in that field behind the parking lot of the Clown Motel? Yeah, that's a graveyard. A graveyard that was started in like the 1800s and filled with dead miners from a mining operation and all of its catastrophes in the area. Yeah, that's a graveyard, y'all. So what butts up against the Clown Motel? A graveyard. A cemetery, a graveyard. Yeah. Now, in this Clown Motel, it's considered the world's or the America's scariest hotel, and apparently in room 108, this is a painting you'll see there. How is that not flippin' terrifying? Okay, so there's that, but here's the story that goes along with the Clown Motel's room 108. Not so long ago, motels were the best option for elderly and terminally ill. One such elderly man was the motel's very own front desk manager. One night, the manager was staying in the motel and became severely unwell. He picked up the phone to call the front desk. It rang and rang, but no response. He called his sister, who dialed 911, but it was too late. He died on his way to the hospital. When questioned, the front desk agent from that night said the phone never rang, and even played back the surveillance footage, which proved the phone never rang. It was almost as though something was trying to stop his calls for help. Okay, weird coincidence, odd, but the painting in the room, still terrifying. Now, of course, we've got room 111. Yes. This one isn't so much terrifying as it is, oh wait, look at that painting in the room. Yeah, it's terrifying. Room 111 was the room where a terminally ill man came to live out his final days. Like many elderly motel guests, doctors had given him a short time to live, and he did not wish to burden his family. Each night, the man went to sleep expecting to never wake up. Again and again, he woke up to live another day, but until eventually, as he told the motel staff, he noticed an eerie shadow would appear in his room during the early hours of each morning. He begged that spirit to take his life, a request he was repeatedly denied. Overwhelmed with frustration, the man shot himself in the Clown Motel car parking. Yeah. By the way, they tell you, by visiting the Clown Motel, you acknowledge that you may encounter interactions with spiritual and or unexplained phenomenon and or unexplainable, unusual, or paranormal activity, or interactions which may include risks which may or may not be foreseeable. The Clown Motel will not be held liable for any bodily injury, damage to personal property, emotional distress, death, or other harm caused by the aforementioned. Yeah, this is an actual disclaimer on their website. This, by the way, is all from their website. And wait, there's still more. So, room 210. This one actually is a good one. This one's a good spooky, I guess. Maybe. Cora, I love how your brain works. My first thought when you said the car park was, well, that's nice. He didn't want to ruin the carpets. My brain works funny. Actually, that's a very... He was being thoughtful. Actually, he really was. Because seriously, y'all, someone does have to clean up after that. So if you're going to do that, be courteous. Do it in the shower. Do it in the bathtub. Do it in your car. There you go. Don't do that. But if you're gonna... but anyway, this one, though, this is a good story. This is not... it might be haunted and weird, but this is a good one. Suffering from excruciating back pain while on a long-haul journey, a man from Arizona made a forced stop at the Clown Motel, because most stops at the Clown Motel are going to be forced, unless you're a weirdo, It was a physical condition he'd had for many years of frustration as he failed to find any real medical diagnosis. For the first morning in many years, when he woke up at the Clown Motel, he felt completely different. His back pain was lessened so much he could barely feel any discomfort. He was so convinced the motel spirits had cured him, he continued to live there for over 6 years and died in this very room where he was cured. And then, finally, we've got room 214. Howard Hughes was an eccentric 1970s Texas billionaire. His close associate, Melvin Damar, made a visit to the motel for an overnight stay and didn't leave until nearly 3 years later. That in and of itself is a little spooky. It is said that a spirit took a liking to the unsuspecting Mr. Damar and often comes back to his room to see if he has returned. Frustrated he hasn't found his old friend, this spirit is known to taunt guests by turning lights on and off during the night, and many guests have said that their personal belongings strangely become hidden or disappear altogether. So that spirit is all habut because his buddy's not there anymore. I don't know why the spirit can't find him in the spirit world, but whatever. Yeah, that's one habut little spirit. And so, that's the little spooky Clown Motel, which, frankly, even without those stories, just this in and of itself, this right here, this is all I need to just go, oh yeah, that's spooky. Oh yeah, that's spooky. Okay. But for those of you who do like clowns, I mean, I actually don't have a problem with clowns, but that many clowns, it does get a little creepy. And they do actually have like a clown memorabilia museum, and I can only assume that, yeah, also a little bit creepy. I have not obviously been there. I probably would like to go check it out. I don't think I would want to stay there. I probably would like to drive by and go, oh look, let's go now, fast. Yeah, let's go now, fast. So, all right, you guys, coming up in the next couple minutes, we've got our Lono listening break. And as is often the case, I do try and pick a Lono song that sort of has something to do with what we're talking about. It doesn't always happen. Trust me, it doesn't. But this particular time, I was able to. So this particular song that we're going to be listening to, I can't remember what it's called, but I can tell you that it's on Old Style 3. And going backwards for a second, Pinnell, lots of old dolls together would also be creepy. Absolutely. Old dolls, a lot of clowns, old dolls, marionettes, a bunch of marionettes, and ventriloquist dummies. If you had a lot of those in one room, I'm not probably going in that room. There's just, no. Marionettes and ventriloquist dummies really freak me out. And Terry in Scotland, I have a switch in my house that doesn't seem to do anything. I used to toggle it on and off until a lady in Germany called me to tell me to cut it out. Oh, you're pulling my leg, mister. And let's see here. Shock, I stayed with my sister Outlaw once, and she put me in her daughter's room. It was princess everywhere. Oh, no. Yeah, no. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that there was a pink canopy bed some way. Some kind of canopy bed was involved, right? I feel as though that's mandatory with the whole princess situation, but yeah. All right, so coming up though, Lono listening break. This particular song is off of Old Style 3, and it is written for and about the caretaker of the Ali'i of Hawaii. And basically, let me just read you what, if you go to Lono's Kaupe'e YouTube page and you go to this song, this is what is written below. And by the way, folks, this is how I know so much about Lono. It's reading all this stuff, for the most part. So this song is about Uncle Billy Ma'ioho. So, okay, Uncle Billy Mahia'o was the curator for the mausoleum up at Nu'uano Pass. Our royalty are entombed there, and he is on watch. Many times we visited there at Mauna Ala, and we were treated to a little bit of our history through Uncle. He led us to the lower area where all of our royalty lay. He left us to view on our own, chicken skin kind. He's a descendant of Ho'opili and Ho'olulu. Sorry, y'all, I don't know how to say those. The two ali'i that prepared Kamehameha's bones for burial. His family line was entrusted with the care of all our ali'i since. All the descendants named Kaheakai, that's what the song is called, Kaheakai. All of the descendants named Kaheakai would be the caretaker. Billy's son is the current caretaker at the mausoleum, but this song was written about Billy himself, not his son. We were summoned to play at the Waimanalo Prince Kuyo Day celebration 2005 or 2006 for the kupuna there. After the celebration, on the way home, we veered off the road to stop at the mausoleum. Draped with endless leis on the fences and graves, flowers of bouquets everywhere. We arrived just after the celebration there was pow, and Uncle Billy was inside resting from the day's event. We woke him up, he came out, and we presented this mele to him. Just written, I did not have the words. So Tutu Lady went into the rental and wrote it down from memory. Amazing. We played for him and then posted it on our CD, Old Style 3. Uncle Billy is gone, however his legacy lives on with this mele. And by the way, when Lono refers to his Tutu Lady, he does not mean his grandma. He means his wife, his life partner. And he has said on several occasions, even though she's Haole, he knows that she was Hawaiian in a previous life. She speaks Hawaiian more. She understands and speaks Hawaiian more than Lono does. And Lono actually doesn't speak Hawaiian, despite the fact that he writes songs in it. So, this here is the Lono Listening Break, written for the caretakers of all the ali'i's bones on the island of Maui.
Kai, he'e, kai. Why am I olele hai Hawaii? Boe alilani e ka pukeia. Ano, ano, kai, he'e, kai. Ma'okualua ho'apili ho'olulu. Ai am I, olele ai Hawaii. Moe alilani e ka pukeia. Ano, ano. Mahalo no liliu o kalani ka ikenanae mohe ho mai kai ke akua. o mauna ala. Hoi mai maoli, o mauna ala, o me mo'i o iwi. Ka lohe ha'awina, o ka he kai, o mauna ala. O ka he kai, o mauna ala. O ka he kai, o mauna ala. Ka he kai, o mauna ala.
All right, so that is that. And it looks like we had some folks coming in just in time for that Lono listening break. Gil Soto, good to see you. Trailed us, good to see you. And Gina came back just in time for that break as well. So there we have that. And let's see here. So, okay, so now it's time for some spooky stories from the Statterbox crew. And Cora is starting things off with, I've only seen a spirit once. I lived in a 1600 house that was turned into apartments. I was up in the maid's quarters and I was painting the staircase and walls, and there was a mirror leaning on the wall that I needed to hang, and I saw the reflection of old woman's leather boots and a long skirt. I never hung the mirror up after that. I never felt watched, but I knew she was there. Yeah, that would be kind of freaky. That would for sure be kind of freaky. I definitely, Danny said, "Oh, love my Lono fix." There you go. Yep. Yeah, you know, I have only really had I've had a couple strange things happen, but the strangest thing, the one that freaked me out the most was a shared vision, basically. So I guess that's what freaked all of us out the most, was we saw the same thing. And I've told this story a million times before, but this will be my million and first. In college, every month there's a full moon, as you know, some months too. But in the college that I went to, every month on the full moon, there was what's known as a full moon fire circle, where a bunch of hippies would, because I went to a hippie college, would go down to the meadow in the middle of the woods, light a fire, and have like a drumming and guitaring and dope smoking fire circle for the full moon. It happened every month. It just was a thing. So we were going down through the woods to the fire circle, but the trail in the woods has no lighting. So it is completely dark. And actually, on a clear night, when the clouds don't reflect the moon, like, it gets really dark, even though it's full moon. Unless you're out where the moon's hitting, it's very dark. It's very dark at night in the woods. Just trust me on this, okay? So the three of us, there's 5 of us, and 2 dudes, 3 chicks. The three of us chicks were in back, and our eyes were not adjusting to the dark well, and we were walking a lot slower down the trail than Jamie and Nathan, the 2 guys that were with us. Us 3, Holly, Rachel, and myself, were 3 abreast on the trail, sort of like a Wizard of Oz, you know, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, you know, going through the woods. We watched Nathan go down the trail real quick, long legs, tall guy, walking sturdily fast, or whatever. Jamie was a little bit behind him, but then Jamie slowed down and stopped and turned around, and it looked like he was coming back up the trail for us because they had gotten really far away. So Jamie's coming up the trail, and then as he's getting up the trail, he's starting to move faster and faster, and pretty soon it's pretty clear that he's like running up the trail. The black shadow of his figure is just like booking at us. And right before And he's not slowing down. And he gets to the point where he's just going to barrel through us like Red Rover, let Jamie come over. And right before he bashes into us, all three of us, Holly, Rachel, and I, scream and let go of each other and like let him burst through. Yeah, there was nothing there. All three of us saw Jamie walking down. We all three of us saw him stop. We all three of us saw him turn around and come back up. And was this before torches? No, we just didn't. We liked. Nobody thought to use a flashlight to get through the woods. I don't know. Anyway, either way, all I know is all three of us, when we were sputtering out like, but I thought I saw, and Jamie, and he was running, and you know, we all sort of put the story together, and we all saw the exact same flipping thing, only there was nothing there to see. Not at all. So I will admit we were under the influence of cannabis, without a doubt. But in my 35 plus years of smoking cannabis, I've never hallucinated off of it, let alone had a 3-person hallucination that like matched it. So I don't know. But what I do know is that Kenny from the Cove recently had a weirdness happen, and I don't really know. I don't really know. So to give a little bit of context, Kenny from the Cove, he's not here right now. He wishes that he could be, because he'd be able to answer any and all of your questions. It must have been some great fight. Yeah, well, you know, I'm sure it was, but I don't actually think that had anything to do with it. I really, really don't. I mean, who's to say, but I really don't think it did. Now, Kenny, I can tell you this. This happened fairly recently, like within the last month and a half or so. And let's see here. Hold on, wait, Cora. When I was smoking some suspicious lettuce, a tree waved at me and a wall turned into a horse sleeping on the road. Wow, dude, that was some good lettuce. Whoa. Well, this much I can tell you. This next story is from Kenny from the Cove, and he was not under the influence of anything. He was sober. He was on duty. He was at work. Now, I understand just because you're at work doesn't mean you're sober, because some people are like that. Kenny's not, okay? Kenny actually goes to work and like does he doesn't smoke weed on the job, and I'm pretty sure he's not a drunk on the job either. And Pinnell, did I ask the guy what he was really doing at the time? Well, no, we eventually caught up with them, and they had Jamie never turned around. Jamie and Nathan made it down to the fire circle minutes before we did, and when we told him about it, he was just like, no, dude, Jamie wasn't messing with us, man. We were messing with ourselves apparently, but Jamie was not messing with us. So let's see here. It's illegal here, so who knows what was in it. Yeah, good point, Cora. Yeah. Whereas where I'm from, you can get it at the store. You can get it at the store in a box. Like, you know, like a pack of smokes. It's the best thing ever. But, all right, so Kenny's story though. So he is a custodian at a school. I don't know if it's an elementary school. I don't know if it's a high school. I don't know if it's a junior high. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to assume it's a junior high or a high school. Anyway, he is one of 2 night supervisors at the school. He works, I think, from like 2 p.m. until 9 p.m. or something like that. 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., something like that. So when he's doing the majority of his work, there's generally only 2 people in the building. That's him and his work partner. Sometimes there's the occasional teacher that is straggling through and doing something late, but for the most part, the school is empty. And I'm guessing that y'all have probably been in big empty buildings before. When a big empty building is empty, from the Departmency of Redundancy Department, sounds have a tendency to carry and echo far. When you open a door, you can generally hear it, you know? And so, giving you all of this context, here are some pictures that Kenny sent to go along with his little spookiness. Now, the picture on the left is of a door, and that door is basically at the end. All right, so if you see the picture on the right, how it's one hallway that meets another hallway, just to the left of where that picture, where the hallway, like, if you were to look around the corner to the left-hand side, you would see that door that's on the left. Does that make sense? So basically, around the corner is a very dead-end, stubby little hallway where only the door outside exists. There's nothing else except for a door that goes outside down that corner. And Gil coming in, yeah, you hear things go bump in the night when it's, yeah, exactly. The sounds do carry. So, okay, no, and by the way, it is an elementary school, I realize now. So, Kenny's got this written out, so you're gonna just, I don't know, sit here and look at this picture while I read to you what Kenny said. All right. I'm a custodian on the night shift at an elementary school. There are only 2 of us on the night crew, me and my lead, Benny. I work from 2:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. 99% of the time, by 5 o'clock, Benny and I are the only 2 in the building. We work on opposite sides of the building and usually don't see each other until we take our dinner break at about 6:30. I have a routine I follow every night. Hallways 300 and 400 are my area. I start at the front of the 300 hall where it forms a T intersection with the main. The main hall runs the entire length of the building. After I clean the 300 computer lab and the 300 staff room, I move on to the boys and girls restrooms in the 300 hall. After I finish the restrooms, I move my stuff out of the way so I can clean the nook between the restrooms. In the nook is a water bottle filling station and a traditional drinking fountain. I use a different mop and wringer bucket there, since the other one is for restrooms only, to prevent cross-contamination. I did not realize. Side note coming from me, I did not realize they did that. Very wise. Anyway, okay, so this happened literally October 3rd. On Thursday evening, October 3rd, 2024, I had just finished the girls' restroom and was moving my equipment out of the way so I could clean the water, the bottle filler, and drinking fountain station, as well as mop the floor in that nook. I had just set down the wet floor sign and turned around to move my restroom mop out of my way. When I turned to do this, I ended up facing the T intersection of the 300 hall and the main hall, which we see in the picture to the right. And that's when I saw whatever it was that I saw. I saw a young, lanky, barefooted girl in some sort of short summertime outfit running very, very fast up the main hall towards exit 14. By the way, that orange little door, that's exit 14. For a split second, I thought, what staffer is still in the building at this hour? And why are they letting their child or student, I wasn't sure which it was, run wild through the building barefooted? She ran from my right to my left, headed towards the exit doors. I thought I'd either see her again after she turned and went back to where she came from, or I'd hear her press the panic device on one of the doors to open the door and continue on the outside of the building. After I didn't see her or hear anything, I decided to go to the intersection, peek around the corner, and ask her what she was doing in the building and see what she was up to. I went to the hallway intersection, poked my head around the corner, and saw no one. From the moment I saw this girl running the hall to the time I looked around the corner, that hallway intersection was completely in my sight. She couldn't have gone back without me seeing her. It then occurred to me that I didn't hear the panic device being pushed in to open the door. Those panic devices make a lot of audible clacking and unlatching noises when they're activated, and when the building is almost empty, you can hear that sound throughout the school. Where the hell did this kid go? And then it dawned on me, this barefooted kid running fast on vinyl composite tile floor wasn't making any sound as she ran. It's physically impossible to run barefoot on a VCT floor and not make an audible foot-slapping tile sound. I know this from 31 years of building maintenance. And so he continues on. I was stunned. I couldn't make sense of what I saw. I've seen a lot of weird, creepy stuff, but I stopped looking for paranormal experiences many years ago. I didn't even... I don't automatically label things as haunted or a spirit. I try to eliminate explanation with rational explanations first. It's surprising how much my years of expertise in building maintenance and construction can debunk a lot of seemingly paranormal stuff. I wasn't looking to have a haunted encounter with a ghostly apparition that Thursday night. I was focusing on my work so I could finish my shift and clock out. I wasn't drunk or intoxicated or running a fever. I wasn't suffering from exhaustion as it was fairly early in my shift. I had checked both doors on exit 14 to make sure they were securely latched shut. They were, and to see if the rug of that entrance needed vacuuming prior to the incident. No one had passed through those doors since I checked them. So let's see here. He had one more thing. Oh, yes. And then later on he added that right, of course, next to this school of his, not here. Okay, actually, you know what? Let me just put this one to the test. Okay, so he works at a school. Question for you. What's right next to that school? Any idea? Any guesses? What coincidentally happens to be right next to the school? Any guesses? Bueller? Give you a hint. Sort of like the clown cemetery. Yes, it's a graveyard from the it's a pioneer graveyard from the 1800s. Indeedly-do, it is a pioneer graveyard from the 1800s. Now, Kenny is fairly certain that the pioneer graveyard of the 1800s had nothing to do with what he saw, because what the chick was wearing, what that girl was wearing, was not 1800s clothing at all. So, meh. But, yeah, next to that school is a graveyard, which may or may not, most likely not, be the source of whatever it was that he saw running. And so yeah, there you have it. That's Kenny's spooky story. And I don't think I would like that if I had seen that on that day. I would have been very confused for certain. And I probably would have been for the next week asking I'd be asking everybody the next week, like, who was here after hours, who had their kid, what. I would be looking for every single thing rational to explain it. And let's see here, Terry, before she met me, my wife and her family lived in a 17th century house built as a hunting lodge for Charles I. It had priest holes everywhere, where priests would hide from the Roundheads during the English Civil War. My wife said she noticed a little old man sitting at the baby grand piano in the living room one day. He just smiled benignly, and a previous owner confirmed they had seen him too. But everyone felt some other presence there, something dark and dreadful. Well, any house that's that old has got a lot of history in it. So obvious. But yeah, and you totally believe spirits are among us, says Danny. Honestly, I don't necessarily believe, but I certainly don't not believe, because this is what I do know. Just because we don't have the capability to measure it yet, doesn't mean it's not there to be measured. And what I mean by that is, there was a time in our technological advanceries that we couldn't identify an atom, let alone split an atom open to find out what was in the atom. But our inability to see the atom, manipulate the atom, split the atom open, didn't mean that the atom didn't exist. Because it does. Just because we can't measure it doesn't mean it's not there. So, I totally, I totally don't see how, I'm not I don't have a belief either way, but I guess I believe more strongly in them than against them, because just because you can't prove it doesn't mean it's... just means we can't prove it yet. That's all that means. And, let's see here. What actually is a pioneer? I'm just picturing that ginger cooking show lady that has kids that look like they hate their life. Cora, I guess a pioneer would be some of the first white people to settle the land, to tame the land, to take over the land, to, you know, farm the land, to create a town there, to create quote-unquote civilization. And I use the term civilization in quotes because that's the European version of civilization. Obviously, there was civilized people that lived on that land for centuries before those folk got there, but basically they're people who recently emigrated from a different country or traveled from a different part of the United States and went to the frontier to build new cities. That's the people who took part in Manifest Destiny. That's who the pioneers are. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term Manifest Destiny, but basically it was the religious concept used to justify the taking over of the American West and make America go from one coast to the next. And it was the justification for why all of these people who are inconveniently already living here need to go, because God deemed this our country. So now we're gonna go take it. That was Manifest Destiny, and those were the pioneers. And exactly, Cola Tea, perfect example. We didn't know bacteria caused diseases until 1850. George Washington didn't know about germs. Right, exactly, but that doesn't mean that germs didn't exist. So, yeah, so, you know, I mean, it's like, well, you can't see it, you know, there's no proof that they do exist. Well, okay, maybe there's not enough proof to prove you, but that doesn't really mean that just because we can't prove it doesn't mean it's not there. All right, so, let's see here. Alrighty, so, I think... Oh, no, that's not true. I've got one more little news break here. So this is a double story, one of which is sort of meh, it doesn't have much to do with it. Although we did talk about rats earlier, so I guess it does coordinate. But this is a little news story also. Talks about rats, which is really not what we're interested in, but then it talks about the haunted hotels in Hawaii. And I don't think I've ever stayed at any of these hotels. I'm wondering if any of you guys have stayed in any of these hotels. And if so, I'm wondering, well, you know what I'm wondering. So let's check this out, and we'll discuss it in a little bit. Boop.
For the last 9 years, Chicago has topped the list of the rattiest city in the U.S., and they did it again.
What do you mean, rattiest?
Well, we're not talking politics
Okay.
or scoundrels. We're actually talking rats.
Oh, okay.
Actual rodents.
Okay.
Orkin released its annual list of the 50 cities with the most rats, and Los Angeles comes in at number 2, followed by New York City. Of course, Chicago tops that list, and I know what your question is, right?
Yeah, are we on the list?
Yes, Hawaii's on the list.
Huh?
Yes, Honolulu comes in at number 29.
Wow. We gotta get.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we gotta get Ian Mateo on the job from Pesca
Exactly,
Hawaii.
absolutely. Get him back over here. Take care of these buggers. And of course, you know, rats didn't naturally come from Hawaii, right? They were brought here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the canoe. Don't we have native Hawaiian rats?
Do we?
Yes, I think we do. I think we have one. I don't know.
I don't know if it's
Why are you
native
looking at
Hawaiian.
me?
I think it's Polynesian.
Yeah, Polynesian rat. We
I
have
don't
a
think
Polynesian rat.
Yeah, we better go do the DNA testing.
Yeah, ancestry DNA.
23andMe. We'll go catch one rat and find some of that buggers. All right, now during Halloween, people are looking for a good scare, right? That's why we love haunted houses. Yeah.
Yes.
I got one right here. He's sitting next to me. But what about haunted hotels? In fact, haunted tourism is now big business. It's a niche of the $11 trillion travel industry, and it's known as dark tourism.
Wow.
This is when people want to go and visit destinations that are associated with death and tragedy. So if you're looking to get your spook on, you don't actually have to go too far because according to hauntedrooms.com, there's a list of haunted Hawaii hotels that are still in operation.
I'm glad you're telling me because I don't like visit any of these hotels. Or have I? I don't know.
You've actually gone to a few of them on the list, brother. But I'm going to share with you the top 3. The first one is the Kona Sheraton on Hawaii Island. And I know you've been there because there's been many a reggae concert that we've worked and it was there. Despite its name changes over the years, the complaints are always the same. Little girls playing loudly in the hallways at night or seeing an apparition on the edge of the hotel's cliff.
I'm like, yes, because I know that's like, it sits there, it juts
sits
out, right?
right on the edge of the cliff, right? Up next, at number 2, is the Waikiki Park Hotel. Now, word is this hotel is haunted by the ghost of a former employee who continues to punch in.
I'm sorry, after I'm dead, I'm retiring. I'm coming back to work, please.
You think? And the number 1 haunted hotel in Hawaii is the Lodge at Koele on Lanai. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this property is believed to be haunted by several spirits, most especially a little girl who often shows up in guest rooms at any time of the day or night. There's no explanation for these hauntings.
You know, it's interesting. Why is it always a little girl? Because I remember when working at the radio station back in the day at KCCN, same thing. Little girl running down the hallway with the ball and was just like, I just don't understand. Why is it always a little girl?
Are they spookier to you? Are all girls spooky to you? No, just kidding.
Just one.
Hey!
Thank you, Lena Girl, for that. All
I'm
right.
not little, so cannot be me.
All right, today is National Cat Day, and I know you love your cats.
I do.
So this is our Yuso Akamai question, which is not true about cats.
All right, so there you go. And by the way, for you, those of you who are wondering, the first one is what's not true. Cats do not meow to talk to each other. The other ones were true. But eMusic, you had been to that one hotel on the Big Island, the Kona Hotel or whatever. There you go. Did you get any spooky spookersons and the spookers who spooked you? And let's see here. And let's see here. Is the ghost employee who keeps punching into work doomed to hell for eternity? And that's exactly it, Cora. Cats meow to talk to humans, but not to each other. That is exactly it. And Danny Settle, isn't it creepy when children have memories of past lives? Or like, I've heard of kids who just like turn to their mother and it's just like, I remember when I was your grandma and you used to blah, 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 blah. And the mom is just like, whoa. That is what I used to do with my grandma. Only this 3-year-old would have no way of knowing that that's what I did with my grandma. Like, whoa, is that 3-year-old that I just gave birth to 3 years ago actually my grandma? So, yeah, little kids definitely. I have heard of many just freaky, creepy stories from that parents and stuff that, you know, their kids just say stuff that's just like, wow, dude, that's... Wow, I mean, that is not something a 3-year-old would say. That sounds like something out of the mouth of a 65-year-old or whatever. And, yeah, it says eMusic, the hotel on Kauai, the lodge, I guess, is haunted by several people, I guess. So who knows? A multitude of chances for supernatural encounters there in that particular place. But I've never been to any of those hotels. And let's see here. And Cora, I took my daughter out the other day and I took some super cute pictures of her. And I've just realized every picture has a graveyard in the back. Hey, you know, graveyards are nice, peaceful settings. I used to love to ride my bike in the graveyard all the time because one day I got really annoyed at it was a really nice sunny day and the parks were just crowded and I just wanted to ride my bike, but all these pedestrians were just in the way. And I remember thinking to myself, God, I wish I could find a nice park-like place where there's nobody around. And then like not but a minute later, I drove by this cemetery and I was like, that's exactly the kind of park that I want to go ride my bike in. And so I used to ride my bike in the cemetery because people don't hang out in cemeteries. And oh no, eMusic. You're saying there's a hotel on Kauai. When building it, they scrunched up the bones and kept building. Oh. Oh, I don't know if that's good. I mean, even, yeah, that just, no. I'm gonna assume that hotel is haunted. Yeah, for sure. And let's see here. I know, right, Picola T? I don't want to be reincarnated as a cockroach, because I could remain a cockroach forever, surviving nuclear radiation and so on. Yeah, and then all that would be left to eat would be Twinkies. Do you really just want to live on Twinkies for the rest of eternity? No, not good. Not good at all. All right, so let's see here. What else we got? We got the haunted Hawaiis, we got the cat lanterns, we got the things. Oh. Okay, so this, you guys, this is nothing. This is totally random. Totally random. Has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about today. But I saw these pictures and I thought they were really cool. I thought they were really cool for a couple reasons. First off, it's a pileated woodpecker, which are awesome woodpeckers, and they're endangered. But also just well, here, just look at these pictures. Boop. Look at the red of those apples. The apples just pop. And look at that great, that side profile of that pileated woodpecker. That woodpecker was just enjoying an apple feast. And that woodpecker, obviously, if you don't know, is the type of woodpecker that Woody Woodpecker was modeled after. And if you see a pileated woodpecker in your life, in real life, in the wild, you probably want to make note of it because they are endangered. They're becoming fewer and fewer in between. And if you happen to see a pileated woodpecker in an area that's like maybe up for demolition or redeveloping or whatever, and you don't want the demolition or redeveloping or whatever happening to that land, if you can document that there's an endangered species like the pileated woodpecker living on that land, you can get a lot of stuff postponed or canceled or moved or whatever. Yes, indeedly do. But regardless of that, eMusic used to have a pileated woodpecker on the telephone wire out in front of your house. Awesome. I just thought it was such a stunning picture. And even though, like I said, it has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about today, I just wanted to share it with you guys because I just thought it was an awesome picture. And right, there we go, Picola T. Last week, hiking through woods on Lopez, we heard creepy hollow knocking sounds. Then I remembered we saw lots of pecked out trees earlier on the trail. Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, absolutely. You were hearing woodpeckers, and quite honestly, it's quite possible that you were hearing a pileated, because pileateds do live up here in the Pacific Northwest. And check this out, you guys. eMusic, they are big. In fact, actually, to give you guys an idea of how big they are, I believe that the apples that it's eating off of are Red Delicious apples, because they really look like Red Delicious. And as I'm sure you guys know, Red Delicious apples are usually pretty big. And so that's how much bigger the bird is than a Red Delicious apple. But fun fact about woodpeckers of all kinds, their tongue is so long because, they peck out the holes and they have to take their tongue out to grab the insects in the holes, down in the holes. But their tongue is so long that it actually wraps up around behind their brain and up to in front of their brain. And that is how they don't concuss themselves by woodpecking, because the tongue acts as a bit of a cushion with their brain and their skull. So the tongue does basically a double duty there. And like I said, totally random topic. I mean, you thought that we were on point with the focus today. We were on point with the focus today. One theme: Halloween, dead stuff, spooky stuff, scary stuff. And then I was like, I want to show you a picture of a bird because it's pretty. So yeah, that's what we just did. And yes, exactly, Gene Simmons woodpeckers. That's exactly it. And Pinnell, there was supposed to be a native man who appeared to people in one place I lived. I felt something, so I said to him to move on, please. Explained to him that he had passed. After that, the atmosphere there cleaned up. You're comfortable. Your cat was comfortable after that too. Wow. Well, nice. Good for you, I guess. Yeah, if he didn't realize that he'd passed on, then he maybe needed to hear that. That makes sense. And let's see here. All right, Terry in Scotland. I wondered what makes a woodpecker pileated. Turns out they have a pileus. What is a pileus? The top of the head of a bird from the bill to the nape. All right. So there we go. I guess it's the little foomp. It's the foomp that he's got. So the pileus is the foomp. That's just the technical term. It's the foomp. All right, so we've got 3 minutes until the bottom of the hour. We're almost at our 2-minute warning. I want to thank everybody who hung out here today to listen to some spooky stories and some not so spooky stories. Okay. But I definitely want to thank you guys for putting up with my kitty cat-o'-lanterns. And I want to thank everybody for hanging out with good chats. And I want to thank Cora and Kenny for coming in with some spooky stories. And actually, no, there's a couple people who had some spooky stories here too, not just those ones. But so thank you guys so much. And hopefully we will see each other on Saturday, November 2nd, Saturday, November 2nd, 6 p.m. West Coast time. We're going to be watching a movie. It's going to be, remember, we're doing movies on Map Statter, Map with a P on Twitch, Map Statter, and we're going to be watching Coco. I know that we've watched Coco on the cinema before. I don't care. We watch Coco every year as close to November 1st as we can. Why? Because that's what we do here. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, but Coco is one of my favorite movies, and I love it, and so we're going to watch it. But then the week after that, we can go back to Reservation Dogs. But this week, we're doing Coco. So I do hope that you come join us for the Disney classic Coco. It's a beautiful film, beautiful animation as far as I'm concerned. And yes, Dia de los Muertos, you got it. And let's see here. Pacola T, it's interesting that contrary to what's depicted in horror movies, general stories about encounters with spirits portray them as accommodating and protective. Yeah, totally, dude, totally. And Cora, I do have a Discord. I very rarely use it. I would give you a link, but I don't have my Discord open right now. So, yeah. But we do have a Discord. My username is MadStatter. So, if you've got Discord, look for MadStatter. You might be able to find me. And let's see here. Danny said, my aunt told me when I was little I would sit on the front porch and talk, laugh with someone. Later that day, she pulled out an old family album. We were looking at the picture, and I saw the picture. It was deceased Grandma. Nice, beautiful, dude. Yeah, exactly. Well, little kids usually are able to be the ones to see them, as it were. And yeah, so hopefully we will all see each other on Saturday. Sounds like Danny might be here because she loves Coco. And Danny, unfortunately though, just so you know, we're not able to run any of the movies on YouTube because YouTube's copyright protection is way more honed in than what Twitch has going on. So if you are going to join us for the movie, it's going to be on Twitch. And remember, it's Map Statter for reasons that I won't explain right now, but I had to stop using Mad Statter for the movies. It's Map Statter for the cinemas, only the movies. And exactly, you guys, Cola T, Mama Sean coming in with the most important message, which is have a safe Halloween, y'all. Even if you're not going to be going out trick-or-treating, remember there are people on the roads that will be going out trick-or-treating. And if this year is anything like last year, most of them won't have flashlights or even their cell phone using them as a flashlight. Don't get me started on that, but there are people on the roads who aren't wearing reflective gear, who do not have their flashlights. So please remember to look for those people that aren't looking out for themselves, because there are a lot of them out there. All right, eMusic, today is Halloween here on the 30th? Really? Oh, that's right. eMusic lives in a weird spot that does it on the 30th. We talked about that last season. That is right. Well, whether it's on the 30th, the 31st, or the 1st, I don't care when you celebrate it or what you're celebrating. All I know is be careful, have a safe celebration, and look out for people on the streets that aren't wearing brightly reflective flashlit clothing. Gall dung it. All right, there we go. Have a good one. We'll see each other Saturday. If not Saturday, maybe Sunday.